Hello, welcome to Computer Networks online lecture series. Myself, Reema Rawat from LG Institute of Engineering and Technology in the Department of Electronics and Communication. In this session, we are going to see the unit Data Link Layer, and in this unit, today's topic is Example Data Link Protocols. So let's start today's session. Before starting this session, let me rewind the previous session in which we have seen the different sliding window protocols. We have seen 1-bit sliding window protocol using go back and the selective repeat protocol. So now let us see what are the example data link protocols. So first of all, let us see which are the example data link protocols that we are going to see in this session. So basically we are going to see two example data link protocols. First one over here is HDLC, which stands for High Level Data Link Control, and the second one is PPP, that is Point-to-Point Protocol. So these are basically two example data link protocols that we are going to see. So let's start this. First one is the HDLC. HDLC means High Level Data Link Control. Now, what is HDLC? So, high-level data link control is a group of communication protocols of the data link layer for transmitting data between network points or nodes. That means let us assume that in any network there are different nodes or different points in the network, and using these nodes, whenever we are establishing a communication, so this is a group of communication protocols for such kind of transmission of the data. So I repeat again, HDLC is a group of communication protocols for the data link layer for transmitting data between network points or nodes. Now in this HDLC there are different transfer modes. So here the first transfer mode is called as NRM, that is Normal Response Mode. And the second one is called as ABM, which is Asynchronous Balance Mode. So these are basic two modes of operation or transfer modes at HDLC for data transmission. Let us understand these modes in detail. So first one is NRM, which is Normal Response Mode. So here the diagram is indicated for NRM, that is Normal Response Mode. So first one is the point-to-point communication. So here this is indicate the first case, that is point-to-point communication, and here it is indicate the multi-point communication. Now what is point-to-point communication? What is multi-point communication? So in point-to-point communication, there is a single transmitter and a single receiver in between which the communication or data transfer is to be done. And in multi-point communication, there are multiple stations or multiple users in the particular network. So we are going to consider these two cases for NRM. First one, let us consider the point-to-point communication. So in point-to-point communication, there is single primary station and a single secondary station. Now, when the primary station sends the command to the secondary station, it will give the response to the primary station. that is the normal response mode. That means in the particular command received, the response is given back to the sender. That is called as the normal response mode. Same way, in multi-point communication, when NRM is done, the particular primary station will send the command to the multiple stations or multiple secondary stations involved, and these multiple stations will individually give responses to the primary station in response to the command. So this is how the normal response mode works in point-to-point communication and in multi-point communication. In short, in response to command, normally the response is given by the secondary stations involved. Now, let us see the next one, that is ABM, that is asynchronous balance mode. Now, as you can see in this asynchronous balance mode, command and response both can be given by primary and secondary station as well. That means here no station is called as a primary station, no station is called as a secondary station permanently. That means the stations involved in a particular network can both give command to the individual other network or individual other station, as well as they can give response to the command received. That means at a time a particular station can give command as well as the response that can be as the primary station or the secondary station both. That is called as asynchronous balance mode. That means in this kind of mode of transmission, the particular station can give command, as well as if the command is received by it, they can give response to that. That's why this is called as ABM, asynchronous balance mode. Now, next let us see HDLC frame. So is the HDLC frame structure. As you can see, this frame structure is of 6 fields. Now remember that in the previous session we have seen that whenever the frames are divided into segments, that particular segment is called as the field. So as you can see in the frame structure, there are 6 divisions, which we call it as 6 fields. So in this frame structure, the first field is of 8 bits as indicated over here, which is 0, 6 times 1, 0. Same way, the last bit is also a flag bit, which is of same pattern, that is 0, 6 times 1, 0. That means here in HDLC frame structure, first field and last field is same a flag bit pattern, which is 0, 6 times 1, 0. The second field indicated over here is the address field. So here the destination address or the primary station will introduce the secondary station address in this field, which is of 8 bits. That means in HDLC frame structure, the second field will have 8 bits of destination address. Now, the third field is of control field, which is again of 8 bits. So this field is used for control purpose of the data transmission. After that, the fourth field is of data field, which is an important field because this field will have the data included into it, which can be greater than or equals to 0. Here, the data will be of variable size according to the standard requirement. Next is the checksum field. Now, we have seen in the previous sessions the error correction and error detection methods. In error detection, we have seen the checksum method. So, checksum is used for error detection purpose, which is of 16 bits. So, this is the HDLC frame structure. Now, the next one is types of HDLC frames. We have seen the HDLC frame structures, but which are the types of HDLC frames? So there are different types of HDLC frames. Basically 3 types of HDLC frame structures that we are going to see. The first one is I-frame. So I-frame stands for information frames. So what information frame stands for? So the information frames carry user data from the network layer. So if I-frame or I-type frame is there, it indicates the information frame which carries the data from the network layer. Second is S-frame. Here S stands for supervisory frames. Here supervisory frames does not carry any information because it will not have any information field. It is for supervision purpose of the data transmission. And the third one is U frame, which is called as unnumbered frame. This kind of frames are used for myriad miscellaneous functions like link management or such management purposes. So these are basically three types of HDFC frames. First one is I frame, second one is S frame, and the third one is U frame. Okay. Now let us move to the next types of HDFC frames diagram. So here the I frame, S frame and U frame is indicated. First of all, see in the I frame. So in HDFC frame I type, first and last field frame structure has the flag. Second field is address field. Third is control field. And the fourth field is the user data from upper layers. So this is the HDFC frame structure for I frame, that is information frame, which carries the information from upper layers. That's why we'll have the user data from upper layer field in this frame structure. Here next frame field is FCS. This is for forward error correction, forward checksum production. So FCS is for the forward checksum, or in short it is related to error detection. Next is S frame. Here in S frame, the first field is flag field, last field is flag field, second is address field, third one is control field, and then next is FCS field. Here it has not user data field because this is a supervisory frame which does not contain any information in that. Okay. Next is U frame, which is unnumbered frame. In this frame structure, the first and last field is of flag field, second is address field, third one is control field, fourth is management information. Why management information? Because it stores the information related to link control or such management purposes information. So here the fourth field is management information, fifth field is the FCS field. So these are different three frame structures of HDFC frame types: I frame, S frame and U frame. Remember these frame structures and particular fields of these frames. Next, moving to the next protocol, that is PPP, point-to-point protocol. Now, as the name suggests, point-to-point protocol is related to the transmission of data from user to user or from point to point or nodes to nodes or link to link. So, point-to-point protocol is a communication protocol of the data link layer that is used to transmit multi-protocol data between two directly connected computers. That means end-to-end connection is there between the devices or the computers. PPP here provides three features. First one is a framing method that delineates at the end of one frame and the start of the next frame. The frame format also handles the error detection. Second feature that provides is LCP, which is called as Link Control Protocol, which is an important feature. And the third feature is NCP, that is Network Control Protocol. So here in features of PPP, LCP and NCP are most important features. So now let us see the PPP frame structure. The way we have seen the HDFC frame structure, we have PPP frame structure. In this PPP frames, the fields of the frames are in bytes. We have the fields first and last field, which is flag field, which is again of same pattern, 0, 6 times 1, 0. And the second field is of address field, which is 8 times 1, which is of 1 byte. The third field is control field, which is 6 times 0, 2 times 1, which is again of 1 byte. Next is protocol field, which is of 1 or 2 bytes. It is depending on the protocols used. Next is the payload field, which contains some data and it is made variable because it is not fixed all the time. Next field is the checksum field, which may be either 2 or 4 bytes, and checksum is used for error detection. So in this frame structure of PPP, there are 7 fields. As you can see, there are 7 fields for PPP frame structure. Now, let us see a simplified phase diagram for bringing a line up and down using the PPP frame structure. So here, this is the diagram indicates simplified phase diagram for bringing a line up and down using PPP protocol. So as you can see from the first one, when the state is dead. So when the state is dead, that means what? The line is available or the link is available for data transmission. It is not being used right now. When the carrier is detected, that means when the data is to be transmitted, it will establish the connection. So after the dead state, the next state will be established state. When both sides, that means transmitter and receiver or both the nodes, agree on the options, it will come to the authenticate state. After the authentication is successful, the next state is the network state. That means now the network is provided to the users for their transmission. So in this state, the NCP configuration is done. That means network control protocol configuration is done. Once it is successful, the network is open for transmission. When the network will be open for transmission, the data transmission will start taking place. When the data transmission is done completely, that means next state, when the data transmission is done, the channel is now terminated to make it available for other transmission. So the next state after the open state will be terminated, carrier will be dropped, and again it will come back to the dead state. So this is how this cycle repeats for the data transmission. Now here in this, we need to consider two important cases. If the established state is failed and if the authentication is failed. So if the establishment between these two is failed, then it will again come back to the dead state. And if authentication is failed, if authentication is not successful, if it is failed, it will terminate the communication. So this is the simplified phase diagram indicating the communication using line up and line down. Okay, remember the states: dead state, established state, authenticate state, network state, terminate state, open state, etc. I hope that these two HDLC and PPP protocols are clear to you now. These are the references. Try to remember the frame structures for HDLC and PPP both, and how many fields are there and which field indicates what, and how many bits or bytes are there in particular frame field. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for listening.